Is Emily Forwell. I am a nutritional therapist, which means that I work with people to optimize their health through nutrition. Every day since the beginning of lockdown, well, every weekday, I've been going live talking to you about things you can change in your diet to enhance your health. And I'm currently talking about heart health. And in the next 5 minutes, I just want to talk to you about the importance of having robust and diverse gut flora. So I guess when we think about our bodies and health, we tend to isolate different areas of our bodies, and it's very hard for us therefore to appreciate the connection between our heart and our gut, because they're kind of thought about as very different in terms of in the medical field. But there's a really big link between the two. In fact, there's a big link to every system in your body. And that's why somebody like me would look at your whole health rather than focusing in on individual organs in the body. But yes, so yesterday I explained how important it was to have good levels of soluble fibre in your diet. So soluble fibre is found in fruit and vegetables and grains, and it's usually alongside insoluble fibre. So insoluble fibre just passes through the body. Soluble fibre forms a gel, and this gel will stick to things like cholesterol and help the body to excrete them. But there's also many benefits to the gut in terms of heart health, but another one to be aware of is that your gut flora has a very big influence on your levels of good and bad cholesterol. So your gut is made up of billions of bacterial cells. There's more bacterial cells in the gut than there are cells in your entire body. And scientists are only just starting to discover the role that each of these different types of bacteria play. But one thing that they have found is that the more robust your gut flora, so the greater the quantity of bacteria you have in your gut, as well as the numbers in terms of variety of different species in your gut, then the higher your HDL is. So HDL, as I mentioned yesterday, is your good cholesterol. So this is the cholesterol that takes the fat away from the arteries. HDL is the one you want to have more of, and LDL is the one that's supposedly bad that we should be reducing. Yes, the other thing that kind of conversely that's been found is those people with a poor gut flora, so low levels of bacteria and lack of variety in terms of the species, will tend to have higher levels of LDL cholesterol and higher levels of triglycerides, which is a kind of measure of the fat in your body. So the other thing that those gut bacteria do as well is that they make vitamin K. I mentioned vitamin K a few days ago because a deficiency in vitamin K has been found amongst people with the worst outcomes with coronavirus. So we want to be replenishing our body with good levels of vitamin K from our diet, so things like dark green leafy vegetables. But also our gut flora make their own vitamin K. So the more robust your gut flora is, the more they're likely to be producing good levels of vitamin K. And vitamin K is important for heart health because it slows down mineralization, and mineralization can fur up the arteries, and then that would lead to high blood pressure, and that would increase your risk of cardiovascular disease and in particular stroke. So yes. And then how do we get a diverse microbiome, you may ask? What can we do to make sure that our gut bacteria is plentiful and diverse? And this really comes down to diet. So the broader your intake of fruit and vegetables, the more you're going to be encouraging the growth of the different bacteria. So this is where, when we talk about eating a rainbow, this is one of the benefits of eating a rainbow, is that you encourage the proliferation of different strains of bacteria. So every day you should be able to look across your diet and what you've eaten that day and check that you've had fruit and vegetables that are all the colours of the rainbow. And then you know you're getting as much diversity into your diet as possible. Another way of kind of monitoring that is to keep a record of what you're eating. So one challenge is to eat 50 different foods every week. That doesn't have to just be fruit and vegetables, but a good proportion of it should be. And then the more diverse your diet, the more you're going to be encouraging different bacteria to proliferate. Another way of encouraging a good gut flora is to eat fermented foods. So this would be things like kefir, which is fermented yogurt, kombucha, which is fermented tea, sauerkraut, kimchi. So kimchi is and sauerkraut are both fermented cabbage. And then there's other forms of fermented foods that you can buy these days. So think about, do you have a diversity of fruit and vegetables, and is there fermented foods in your diet? And then you'll be doing the most you can to encourage the proliferation of good bacteria. And of course there are supplements, so you can take probiotics, which are healthy bacteria in a capsule form. And I would suggest most people would benefit from that. It's particularly beneficial for some health issues like cardiovascular disease, obviously digestive complaints like constipation, but really great for everything. Depression, a low diversity of gut flora is linked to depression as well. So it might be worth thinking about taking a probiotic. And the other thing I just wanted to mention in this video is our goal isn't to have as low cholesterol as possible. That is not healthy either. So if you have low cholesterol, you're likely to find it very difficult to break down fat in your diet. So cholesterol is a really big component of bile salts, and it's bile salts that the body uses to break down fat. So people with low cholesterol could find it difficult to digest fat. It's also a low level of cholesterol is associated with depression. So we're not aiming to have as low a cholesterol as possible. We're aiming for a healthy level of cholesterol with as high an HDL reading as possible. So that's the good cholesterol, and a moderate amount of LDL cholesterol. So I hope that helps. I'm going to be back again tomorrow talking about other things in your diet that can help with heart health. So please share this video if you found it useful. And if you've got any questions, please ask them. And thanks for listening.